What's going on, everyone? I'm back here with another unboxing video, and I did manage to get my hands on an iPhone 7 Plus, and this is the 32GB gold model for Sprint. So yeah, I purchased this unlocked for $830 after tax. So yeah, let's go ahead and get started and take a quick look at the box. And then you have the back of the 7 Plus right here in gold, and then the logo and print on the box color matches to what phone you got. So the iPhone brand there is gold, and then we have some gold Apple logos on the top and bottom. And then on the back we have right here 32GB. Okay, so let's go ahead and crack into the box. So let's go ahead and peel the plastic off like so. Makes it much easier. There we are. So there we go. Let's lift the top off. And okay, so here we have our documentation designed by Apple in California. The little pouch that includes our quick start guide, our warranty and regulation, and then our Apple stickers on the translucent piece of paper. Here is the iPhone 7 Plus itself right on top here. So let's go ahead and pull the tab, take that out. So there it is, pretty nice looking. So let's go ahead and set that off for just a minute and see what else we got in here. So we have our standard 5-watt power adapter. Then we have our new earpods that are connected via Lightning now. They no longer use the 3.5mm headphone jack because the iPhone 7 Plus no longer has the headphone jack built in. Then on the back of this we get our included headphone jack adapter, which is 3.5mm connection adapted to Lightning. So that's cool that they include that. And then we have our standard Lightning to USB cable for charging and syncing. So the screen size is exactly identical to the 6S at 5.5 inch, and it still has a resolution of 1920 by 1080 with a pixel density of 401 ppi. So exact same screen resolution as we had before. Unfortunately, we don't get a 4K display this year, so we'll just have to wait for that in the future. But anyway, moving on. So at the bottom of the display we have our new home button, which is now force touch. It is no longer a physical clicking button. So basically what Apple's done here is it's now force touch sensor, so when you go to press on it, it is basically solid state and it does not move. If we move up to the top, we have our newly improved front-facing camera, which is now 7 megapixels that can record 1080p at 30 frames per second, which now also has auto image stabilization for still images and things like that. So really nice improvement to that. Then we have our earpiece, which also acts as a second speaker. So this does have stereo speakers, which I'll get to in more depth in just a moment. But the first speaker is in the earpiece at the top. Then above that we have our proximity sensor and ambient light sensors. On this side we have our volume up and down keys, and then our vibrate switch. On the bottom we have our dual speaker grills. The left one is an amplifier and the right one is the second stereo speakers. So you got speakers, one on the bottom and then one at the front in the earpiece. And then we have our Lightning connector right there at the bottom as well. Okay, moving on this side, we have the SIM tray and the sleep wake button. Top, we have nothing. And then on the back is where we have the brand new design. So again, this is the gold color. But it's very similar design to the iPhone 6S, a very familiar form factor. But the antenna bands, as you can see, are redesigned to make them a little less intrusive and make it more of a clean design. So you don't have that white line that'll go across the bottom and the top anymore. So it makes it look much cleaner than before. So then we got our Apple logo there, and then we have our really good new improved iSight camera on the back side. Which is now a dual lens, which basically what this does is allows you to have optical zoom for your photos and video. So you have two lenses, one which is a 28mm equivalent wide angle, and then the second is a 56mm equivalent telephoto lens. And basically you can manually jump between the two lenses while taking pictures or video to give yourself 2x optical zoom, which is actually not bad for a smartphone. And the aperture of the wide angle is 1.8, and the aperture of the telephoto is 2.8. So the telephoto lens on the 7 Plus is actually not going to be as good in low light situations. So yeah, if you're in a low light situation, I would advise probably to just use the wide angle because of the wider aperture. Alright, moving on from the camera is the microphone, and then the new improved LED flash, which now has 4 LEDs instead of 2. So that's basically it of the hardware. So now let's go ahead and give a quick rundown of some of the major specs. So first and foremost, you can pick the iPhone 7 Plus up in multiple colors. You can get it in gold as we have here, or you can get black, jet black, silver, and rose gold. So there are 5 different color choices to choose from. The storage capacities that you can get are 32 gigabyte, 128 gigabyte, and 256. Back to the display, Apple has now made the display much brighter, as well as increasing the color, so it's got a wider color gamut. Something that's new with the 7 Plus is a IP67 water and dust resistant standard. So it's going to be water resistant up to 1 meter of water. So you can basically use it in the rain, or you can accidentally get it splashed and stuff and it won't harm it. It now includes a new processor chip called the A10 Fusion, which basically is a quad-core processor that is clocked at 2.3 gigahertz. But basically, it's not the standard quad-core processor that you're come to used to. Basically, what Apple's done is they have 2 high-power cores and then 2 low-power efficiency cores, which is meant to save battery life. And it still also includes the M10 Motion coprocessor. There's also 3 gigabytes of RAM in the 7 Plus, whereas the 4.7-inch model only has 2 gigs of RAM, so you get an extra gig of RAM if you pick up the 7 Plus. There's also NFC built in, which I believe currently is still only able to be used with Apple Pay. Alright, so let's go ahead and boot the phone up and set it up for the first time. So let's go ahead and let this boot up here. Alright. So here we are on the setup screen. So let's go ahead and start the setup process. Alright, so I want English, United States, choose a Wi-Fi network. There we are. So I'll go ahead and select that. And I'm going to go ahead and type in my passcode now. Alright, go ahead and hit join. Alright, so now it's going to go through the activation process. Okay. So, location services, so I'm going to go ahead and enable that. Touch ID, I'm going to go ahead and set that up later in settings. Go ahead and continue. Passcode, I'm going to go ahead and set that up later as well. Okay, so apps and data. So from this screen, you have the option to restore from your iCloud backup, restore from an iTunes backup, set up as a new iPhone, or move data from an Android device. But in this case, I'm going to be setting up as a new iPhone for now. Alright, so Apple ID, I'm going to go ahead and type that in now. Alright. Now we're at terms and conditions. Go ahead and agree. Siri and Hey Siri is now set up, so we're going to continue. Diagnostics, don't send for now. New home button. So this is something new, exclusive to the 7 and 7 Plus. Because of that new Force Touch home button, you do now get to customize the click of the home button. So let's go ahead and get started. So you have 3 options. So number 1, if you press it, it's a relatively light click. Number 2 is a moderate click, and kind of the one that feels much more of an actual home button in my opinion. And the number 3 is a very prominent click. So let's go ahead and go click next. Okay, display zoom. So you have an option of standard or zoom. I like to do standard. And there we go, setup is now done. So let's go ahead and get started. But there we go. The iPhone 7 Plus is now set up and ready to go. So that's basically it for this video. Hope you guys have enjoyed. Make sure to hit that subscribe button down below. It's greatly appreciated. Hit the like button as well. That's also greatly appreciated. If you guys have any questions, comments, or anything like that, drop a comment below and I'll get back to them as soon as I can. And stay tuned for upcoming videos on the iPhone 7 Plus. I'll have some camera tests uploaded soon. And then also stay tuned for my full in-depth review, where I'll be going over everything there is about the 7 Plus and giving you guys my thoughts. So, yeah, that all being said, I hope you guys have enjoyed this video, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace out.